Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Are Your Thoughts and Emotions Just Words? Acharya 2023. Why words hurt you? Dumb. Nobody. You stink. Okay, I haven't taken a shower for a little bit. I just got off work. Useless. Terrible. Etc. etc. So why words hurt you? The whole ego is very weak. It takes a lot to build up an ego. A lot and very little. But it's very fragile. That's why words hurt you. At least that's my thoughts anyway. So let's go get started.
Pranam Acharya ji. It's very excited to finally see you and interact with you. So my question is, or rather reaction is, you have talked a lot about emotions being a bundle of chemicals. Now the context here is the what is the relationship between emotions and language or words? Basically. So I have been observing myself for some time now, and I have seen that a lot of ideas and concepts that I have, when I try to investigate on them, all I end up is with just more words, right? And basically, what I see is that these different groupings of words, which my mind tells, it is basically creating kind of emotional responses within me. So I want to understand from you whether the mind and my word is anything more than just words.
I don't know if it's going to say more than that. Kind of want to touch up on that, which is something I just thought of. And I mean, I hate to say this, but at the same time, it's the truth. And it's something that obviously in Advaita Vedanta they teach you a lot is attachment. Attachment to even words alone. Wanting good words. You're attached to good words, and if you're not getting the good words, you're like, why am I not getting the good words? You have this attachment to glory, attachment to goodness, greatness, fantasticness, happiness, and if you're not getting that, you're like, why? Because there's that attachment to it. You want all those things and anything that you do, and if you don't, you're sad, you're suffering. And just to again to overly simplify it, it's attachment, just in general. When you want something, when you do something, you want a response. You want. It's an attachment, and what you want is good. But if you're not getting good, then you're not feeling good. You're suffering. The ego is very fragile, and it's easily broken. Clearly, especially with I want to say his ego is necessarily fragile. I don't really know him completely, but clearly there is a fragility to it. I mean, he says he emotional responses from his whenever he thinks about these words and whenever he looks at and when he observes his I guess his state of mind and whenever things are said. So there is a fragility to it. It's just a matter, I guess everyone's ego is a little bit different, but generally speaking, the ego is quite fragile. And that's the reason why we suffer in life. Because of the attachment. Ego is just essentially attachment as well.
Thank you.
No. Words come upon observation. That is one thing. And words are mind stuff. That is
Mind
another thing.
stuff.
One thing is I observed and then I was trying to verbalize my observation. You know? And then the words got muddled up. That is one thing. And it's a different question to ask ki, is mind stuff just words? What exactly, which of these two is the question?
Basically, like when I'm contemplate all the ideas that I have, the definitions of ideas, I feel that in essence they are just words,
They are. Okay, step by step. Yes, they are. Then
right? Since they are words, there is something in me which is giving more meaning to them than just seeing them as words. And this happens because when words pop up in my mind, I start to, some kind of emotion happens, right? Like if I'm anxious now, there is like an explanation why I'm anxious. right? So I started to.
So let's stop.
Okay, before he says it, hey, good for him. I like this is simple, basic steps that everyone can take is to observe yourself, to kind of like take a bird's eye view on the situation. When you're in a situation that has happened and you get really emotional, either anger or upset or sadness or whatever, when you step out of it and you have a clear mind, kind of take yourself out of the situation and go over it without having your biases towards it. See, remember what happened. Was your emotions correct or not? And even if it was it appropriate? Did you overreact? Because it could be appropriate that you're sad, but did you overreact? Did you really take it too far? I mean, there are appropriate times when you lose someone that you're genuinely going to be distraught. And that's fine. How did you handle that, though? Did you take that sadness out on people? Which can be uncalled for, but at the same time can be somewhat understandable. So, I mean, hey, good for him for at least being able to get this far. This is small baby steps in terms of being able to observe your emotions and take yourself out of the situation and analyze what's going on.
That's just because the mind can receive stimuli not only from the externally looking senses, but also from its internal database memory. So,
Sorry, I'm laughing. He said database because I don't know. I work in computers and stuff, and I just like that. I mean, it's true though. Our mind is a database.
somebody called me a hippo.
What?
I got angry when called a hippo.
Oh, he's example.
And then I again got angry when I remembered that he called me a hippo. First time the word hippo came to me from outside. Second time the word hippo came to me from
In the mind.
My mind, inside.
From inside, from the memory. And where did the meaning of the word hippo come from?
Outside.
Again from experiences, which is all stored within.
So I'm guessing what he's saying here so far is an external event that got internalized, then got internalized even more from the memory. So there's the two internals in there from you thinking about it and then a memory about it.
So,
Right.
so the word has a certain meaning. What does the word meaning mean? Interest. It has a stake. Meaning means stake. In spiritual parlance. In linguistics, meaning simply means translation. If I ask the meaning of a word, you will simply translate it into other words that you already know of. That's called a meaning. In spiritual terms, meaning implies interest. Meaning implies stake. So for example, when you say, let's live a meaningful life, that means let's live a life that fulfills your deepest interest. Are you getting it? So that's what.
Real quick, interesting. Whenever I say meaningful life, to me, that doesn't necessarily mean the deepest of interest, but that just means maybe I have the opposite point of view. It's more along the lines, don't waste your life. Meaning that you could do small, meaningful things. It doesn't have to be grandeur, but at least they're meaningful. And that's how I kind of took that. Doesn't mean like you have to absolute do the top tier meaningful things every single day. It's more along the lines, make sure that when you live your life that it's meaningful to you. Whether that's sitting down with your family, watching a movie, whatever it is. A lot of people may not see that as meaningful, but to you that may be meaningful. Because I was looking at the book Karma up there. Yeah. Anyways, what is meaningful to you is different. It's different for everyone. So, I mean, as long as you have a meaningful life, whatever that definition of meaningful is, then good for you.
The word as a stimulus does. It tells the ego whether it is gaining or losing. So the word comes to me and the word is hippo. And the word has told the ego, oh, you are losing something. And the ego is already afraid of losses. It's already sitting shivering. And on top of that, it has been told that it's a hippo. And being a hippo means loss of social acceptance and respectability, because I'm a hippo, so nobody respects me.
Was that what hippo means? I always thought it was like fat. That's the reason why it's like, what do you mean? Clearly the guy needs glasses if he thinks you're fat, Acharya. But so is hippo and I guess in his culture means um no social aspect and no one respects them, because I think if you look at the hippos, I think I did see some BBC or some nature stuff in hippos. I believe hippos live in a social environment.
You know, so the ego feels even more shriveled. That's what the word does. All words have existential connotations to the ego. That existential connotation is the meaning. If that connotation is removed, words will do nothing. All words carry something that impinges on your very existence. If you can clear the word of that, then words will remain just words, and no words will have the power to shake you up or disturb you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've said this sometimes in the past. I don't think I've ever said it in a video though, that if a word affects you, you are a slave to that word. Meaning that because that someone could utter that word and all of a sudden you feel whatever that is you feel. I've said that in the past. I don't think I ever said it in a video though, but I 100% agree with them. If a word can make you feel some way, then you are a slave to that word. And I like to say that word too, a slave to that word, because you are. If anyone says a word to you and you all of a sudden just can't control your emotion just sparks up, then obviously you have no control over it and it has control over you. So therefore it is your master and you are its slave. And I really want anyone that gets offended, essentially, to take that to heart, because you don't want to be a slave to words. You want people to say whatever they want to say in your face, and you're like, okay. And that would be the most insulting thing to them, because they tried so hard to insult you, and you're just like, okay. And it didn't even faze you. Imagine trying so hard to insult someone and utterly failing. That is a bigger insult, in my opinion.
So basically, the way I'm using my language is affecting my ego also, right?
All words exist for the ego. And the ego is so damn desperate that nothing can exist for it without having a meaning for it. In your entire universe, nothing can exist. Agree that everything exists for our sake. Is there anything in your house that is meaningless? Please tell me. Is there anything in your house that doesn't serve any function? That's what is called meaninglessness. Is there anything in your house that does not serve your self-interest? Your house is your Brahmand, your universe. Huh? Everything inside it must have a meaning for you, otherwise you'll throw it away. Similarly, your entire vocabulary has things, which is words, that have meaning for you. And if a word does not have any meaning for you, you'll forget it. So that's what language is. It reminds you of something that potentially can either belittle you or inflate you. Every word is a pointer to the ego of its hollowness and also of its potential fulfillment.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, I mean, I guess it was kind of speechless. It's like, I don't know what to say to that, but so yeah, absolutely interesting. And I don't, again, nothing to disagree about there. I mean, everything he says, I 100% agree. Something that I've thought of too myself. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know when I thought of this. I don't know if it's something I thought on my own or something that I thought of as I watched his videos. I think it's something I thought of my own. I'm trying to think. And mind you, it wasn't too far back that I thought of this. too far back from watching his videos, because obviously you can observe what happens, like I said a little bit earlier, and like what he's doing is observe your body. When things happen, why does it happen? Ask yourself, why does it happen? And then you think about, and it's easy enough to know, if a word makes you feel a certain way, that word has power over you. It's very simple to understand that. But yet, we as human beings are ignorant of that. A lot of people get offended. A lot of people, um, yeah, well, essentially, that's all I can really. A lot of people get offended, and that means words have power over them. And it also goes to show how fragile ego is. Their ego, or just ego in general. And sometimes it is understandable, when we live in a world where everything's external and we don't ever think about internal things, or ourselves for that matter, for the most part. The only time we think about ourselves is for selfish reasons, and not necessarily what benefits us. And and what I mean by benefits us, I don't mean like in terms of inner wellness or inner engineering, or looking at oneself, but more of a benefit to us in terms of material gain, or the ego itself, essentially, just the ego itself, whether that's material gain or social status. Making sure that whenever people speak about you, that they're always in the like, oh my gosh, this person is so great and wonderful. He's the boss. He's the king. He's the whatever. To boost that ego. So, anyways, that's my reaction to Are Your Thoughts and Emotions Just Words? Your thoughts are. Emotions aren't. Obviously, emotions is your chemical reaction to the thoughts. But at the same time, if those words didn't have any meaning, like he said, then guess what? They have no power over you. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.